Who? What the fuck is going on?
We are the intruders here, brother. Come closer, sir.
We are about to see something we've never seen before. Not from lords, not even from kings. This man, Baelor Breakspear, is about to give you a perfect demonstration of how to command respect from nobles and common men alike. Not because of his blood, not because of his titles, just with his presence. And in just 4 minutes of dialogue, he'll show you why people believe he could have been a great king. The first time he appears on screen, we immediately see who he is. He climbs down from his horse to greet the Lord of Ashford, a minor lord, nobody powerful. But Baelor meets him with a warm smile, touches his arm, and treats him with real grace. He didn't have to do that, but he did. And we're nowhere near close to seeing how Baelor shows he's the alpha in every room he walks into. Look at this moment. Dunk gets caught sneaking around where he doesn't belong. And who reacts first? Maekar. He moves in, he questions, he confronts. While Baelor holds his ground, he watches, he listens. Dunk could have been a spy, could have been dangerous, but Baelor doesn't jump to conclusions. He chooses to listen first, and because he listens, he understands what this actually is, a low-born man trying to get an audience, nothing more.
What the fuck is going on?
We are the intruders here, brother. Come closer, sir.
Think about what he just did. First, he checks his brother who is ready for confrontation, treating Dunk like a criminal who violated their space, and Baelor calmly reminds him, "We're the guests here. We don't own this place. Stand down." He refuses to escalate. He reframes the whole situation with one sentence. Second, he calls Dunk Sir. Think about this. Baelor could have antagonized him. He has every right to. This man was sneaking around spying on them. He could treat him like a threat, but he doesn't. Because Baelor doesn't let the situation dictate who he is. He doesn't know Dunk, doesn't know if he's dangerous or harmless, but that doesn't matter because Baelor knows himself. He's polite because that's who he is. He's respectful because that's how he moves through the world. Not when it's convenient. Always. That's real confidence. When you're so secure in yourself that nothing, not a threat, not a stranger, not an awkward situation, can make you compromise your character. And third, come closer. Not explain yourself. Not who are you. He invites him in. He's not threatened. He's curious. That one line shows you everything. Humble but in command, gracious but in control. He protects Dunk, checks his brother, and takes charge of the room, all without raising his voice. But his real character starts to show right after. When Dunk mentions Sir Arlen of Pennytree, watch Baelor's face. Look at him. He remembers Sir Arlen. You can see it. He's already piecing the story together. Who Dunk is, why he's here, what he wants. But watch his eyes. That's not trust. That's evaluation. He's kind, but he's not stupid. He approaches Dunk with respect, but he doesn't trust him yet. He's reading him, testing him, waiting to see if this man is really who he says he is. And notice, he still doesn't get involved when Dunk starts making his case. Because this isn't his place to rule. It's Lord Ashford's tourney and it's his decision. Baelor respects that. Even though one word from him could change everything. He stays back. He doesn't interfere. He lets the man whose place this is make the call. But the moment Dunk turns and speaks directly to him, that's when Baelor takes the reins. And what follows is a masterclass in control.
Sir Arlen of Pennytree. He never won a tourney that I know. But he never shamed himself either.
Yes, sir. I mean, no, he didn't.
He overthrew Lord Stokeworth in the melee at King's Landing. And years before, he unhorsed the Grey Lion himself.
He told me of that many a time.
Then you will recall the Grey Lion's true name.
Baelor isn't just remembering Sir Arlen. He's establishing dominance over the conversation. Watch what he does. He drops specific details. He never won a tourney that I know, but he never shamed himself either. That's not small talk. That's Baelor letting everyone in the room know, I have information. I know exactly who we're talking about. Not just the name, not just the reputation. I know the man. When he says, he never shamed himself either, that's deep knowledge. That's not something you'd know from hearing stories. That's the assessment of someone who paid attention. He's doing two things at once. He's validating Sir Arlen. He was legitimate. But more importantly, he's positioning himself as the authority in this room. Because once everyone knows that Baelor has the information, Baelor controls the conversation. No one can question him. No one can challenge what he says. He just made himself the shot caller. And then he brings up the Grey Lion.
Then you will recall the Grey Lion's true name. I have no doubt.
Sir Daemon Lannister. The Grey Line. He's Lord of Casterly Rock now.
So he is.
Think about what just happened. Dunk came into this room hoping to prove himself, hoping to make his case. He mentioned Sir Arlen, expecting Baelor to just accept it. But Baelor doesn't just accept it, he delivers. He gives more information about Sir Arlen than Dunk probably expected. The tourneys, the melee, the Grey Lion. He shows the room. I don't just remember this man. I know his history better than you do. And now the table is turned. Dunk came here to ask for something. Now Dunk is the one being asked. Baelor took control of the conversation without ever raising his voice or pulling rank. He just knew more, and that was enough. But here's the thing. Baelor still doesn't trust Dunk. He can't. This could still be anyone pretending to be Sir Arlen's squire, so he tests him. But look at how he does it. He doesn't say, "Prove you knew Sir Arlen." He doesn't humiliate him. He doesn't put him on the spot in front of everyone. He gives him a path. It's not an accusation, it's an invitation. He's saying, if you're real, this will be easy. Just answer. Prove yourself. I'm giving you the chance. Subtle, respectful, but absolutely a test. And then he says something that reveals just how sharp he really is.
And enters the lists upon the morrow.
How can you possibly remember some fucking hedge knight who chanced to unhorse Daemon Lannister 16 years ago?
I make it a practice to learn all I can of my foes.
On the surface, it sounds like a simple statement, a warrior keeping track of his competition. But there's so much more underneath. Remember where we are in history. The dragons are gone. The Targaryens ruled Westeros for generations because they had something no one else had. Fire made flesh. Even the faith of the Seven looked the other way when they married brother to sister. Because who's going to tell a dragon what to do? But now, no dragons, no fire, and people are starting to see the Targaryens differently. As Raymond Fossaway says later, they see them as aliens, outsiders, strange people with strange customs and nothing special to show for it anymore.
No, they're incestuous aliens, Duncan. Blood magickers and tyrants who've burned our lands, enslaved our people, dragged us into their walls without a mote of respect for our history or our customs.
And it gets worse for Baelor. This story takes place after the first Blackfire Rebellion. Daemon Blackfire rose up against the crown, and one of the things that gave his cause strength was that Baelor's father married a Martell, a Dornish woman. Look at Baelor, not the traditional Targaryen look. And in a world where bloodlines mean everything, that's a target on his back. People can whisper, people can doubt. So when Baelor says, I make it practice to learn all I can of my foes, that's not just tournament talk, that's survival. He knows the game. He knows people are watching, and he understands that without dragons, the Targaryen name only survives if they control the narrative. That's not arrogance. That's a man who sees the board clearly and plays accordingly. And then comes the moment that could have gone very wrong.
The lots made Sir Arlen my opponent in the first tilt. We broke 4 lances before I finally unhorsed him.
It was 7.
Now look at the room. Watch everyone's reaction. Dunk doesn't mean disrespect, but everyone understands what he just did. He basically told the Prince of Dragonstone that he's wrong, that his version of events isn't true. In a way, he's calling Baelor a liar. Another prince would have taken that as an insult. Maekar, for example. We've seen how he reacts. That could have been anger, punishment, violence, or Baelor could have just dismissed Dunk entirely, decided this man is too stupid to deal with, let him go, or throw him out. But Baelor does none of that. Watch what he does instead.
We broke 4 lances before I finally unhorsed him.
It was 7. Believe.
Tales grow in the telling, I know. Do not think ill of your old master, but it was 4 lances only, I fear.
As you say, Your Grace, it was 4. I do apologize. The old man, Sir Arlen, he used to say that I was thick as a castle wall and slow as an oryx.
No harm was done, sir. Rise.
4 words, and he takes complete control of the narrative. Think about what he just did. He's not arguing. He's not defending himself. He's not calling Dunk a liar. He's saying, of course stories get exaggerated. That's how stories work. And if stories about me get bigger and bigger, what does that tell you about me? He positions himself as the legend, the benchmark. The man so great that other men inflate their stories about him just to make themselves look better. And then he goes even further. He tells Dunk not to think badly of his mentor for this, because Sir Arlen was a hedge knight, and Baelor is a prince. Anyone in Arlen's position would do the same. It's natural. It's human. He's giving Dunk an out. He's protecting the memory of a dead man. He's being generous to someone who just challenged him in front of a room full of lords. And he does all of this without a hint of anger, without ego, without making Dunk feel small. That's not just confidence, that's grace. And this is what separates Baelor Breakspear from every other powerful man we've seen in this world. Tywin Lannister commands respect through fear. Cross him and your house burns. Robert Baratheon commands respect through force, through volume, through being the biggest presence in the room. But Baelor doesn't threaten, doesn't shout, doesn't remind you of his titles, doesn't punish you for speaking out of turn. He just stands there, listens, thinks, responds with precision, treats everyone from the highest lord to the lowest hedge knight with the same steady respect. And somehow, that's more powerful than all of it. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Your comments and likes are big motivation. See you next time.